Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to this Christmas card making tutorial. I'd like to run through a couple of the items that we're going to use for this card, and I shall also include a list on the YouTube description box. If you want to comment, please do. I will get back to you on Facebook. I can't get back to you all on YouTube because there's so many, but I do appreciate all your comments and I do read them all, so thank you. Please give me a like on YouTube and share with your crafty friends, because that will help spread the techniques and the tutorials across the world to people that maybe need a little bit of help or just to get them going and motivated. So I'm going to be using the Griffin Ruffle Cut and Emboss die set. I do like this set. I know we've used it in a previous tutorial and many other ones, but I just think it's so versatile. We're going to be using the large outline die and then the next size down with the ornate die as well. We're also going to be using the Griffin Laurel Cut and Emboss dies. We're going to use the large laurel and the smaller one with the bow on it, and I want to show you a couple of different techniques using this, because I think this is such a versatile die that you can do different things with. So let's just sit back, relax and get on. I'm going to be using a 7x5 inch ivory card base. I'm going to use my bone folder to make sure we've got a nice crisp professional looking edge, as we do on all our cards, so it stands up nicely when it's on the mantelpiece and it hopefully won't fall over. I've used my handmade stamp on the back, and this is one of the techniques I want to show you. I've used the actual laurel die on the back. I've placed the die over the card, and then I've taken two fine liners. Now these are actually chameleon liners, but you could use any. One is a gorgeous green. The actual chameleon number is GR2. And I've also used a gorgeous red chameleon pen. They're both 3mm inch nibs, and that is RD4. Both very catchy titles. I prefer to say that's a vintage green and that's a deep red. So what I've done is I've drawn around the die using the fine liner, just simply all the way round, and then in the gaps I've gone in with my pen and again just drawn in. And when I've got to the actual bit for the bow, I've changed colour and I've gone to the red. Leaving the die on the surface, I've then also used distress inks, and I've used peel paint and candied red apple. Same two colours that we used for a previous tutorial. And then I take the die away. Now you can hold it down with magic tape, washi tape, anything like that, and that gives you that effect. Something a little bit different just for the back of your card. And obviously I've added my name because I've made this project. So we're going to start and we're going to do the inside of the card first, because you know me, I really like the insert to be as pretty as the outside. The first thing that I'm going to add is two pieces of cardstock. These are from the Griffin Christmas cardstock. They could be from any year, from any of the kits that she's created. I've taken them and I've cut them because they were both 7x5 inch size. I've cut them down to half of our base layer, which is 170mm by 120mm. So these are literally 85mm by 60mm wide, to be able to get them to sit on our card base. I've got flat tape on the back. You could do this for any size card, it really doesn't matter. And I'm going to add them, the striped one first, to the inside of the card, and then the ornate one. Again, just flat tape on the back. And the only thing that needs to marry up is the centre edge. There we go. So we've got those in our card for the base of our card. It doesn't matter which way around they go, and it doesn't matter what patterns you use, because it's just going to look so effective. Next, I've taken an oval die from the Ruffle Cut and Emboss dies, and I've just cut it out in ivory cardstock. I've got flat tape on the back, and I can peel the back of the tape away like so, and I'm just going to pop that through the centre of our card like so, and press it down. There's no ink on there, there's no nothing, it's just a plain ivory oval. Next, now again, this is where the fun can happen. So I've used my Xyron machine. I've not used it for a while, but I've pulled it out the cupboard, and I thought it's perfect for this because I want a flat finish, and it's quite ornate is the die for the small laurel. I've also, when I've die cut it, I've used the fine liners again to go into the design and just highlight the edges of each of the laurel leaves. Easy for me to say. And the bow as well. Using the ink as well while the die is still on the cardstock. So if you need to use masking tape or magic tape, you can do that. Then I've put it through my Xyron machine. Now the only thing you need to remember is when you put it through your Xyron, you need to break the connection at the edges, because then the adhesive will just stay on the sections that it needs to stay on. So go around with something like your bone folder if you're happy using that, or an embossing tool. Just take it around the edge, and then when you peel the top section away, the adhesive that you haven't used comes away with that top section, and the adhesive that you need will be underneath the die cut or the shape or whatever you've used for the Xyron. So now I just peel that away from the carrier sheet, and you can see that has, obviously you don't do this upside down, you'll be able to do it nice and easy. But I want to show you where the adhesive sits on the actual die cut. And then we're going to add the die cut to the inside of our card, like so, just at the bottom of this oval that we've cut in the ivory. Now I can press it down. If you find you've got a little bit of adhesive in the gaps, take the carrier sheet again that you have, and then just press it down, and that should pull the adhesive away. You probably won't have a lot on there, but it's just a handy tip for you. Next, for the inside, I've die cut a sentiment from one of Anna's card kits, and I can't quite remember which one it was, which is quite naughty of me, but you could use any. I've simply die cut it, and I've got flat tape on the back. And we're going to add this just to the bottom, I think, covering part of our laurel and not part of it, if you see what I mean. So I'll add that, and then we've got a nice section that we can add our message to, and it's just a beautiful inside. It's going to match perfectly to the outside. So now we can focus on the outside of our card. Again, I'm using my bone folder just to make sure I've got that nice, sharp, clean edge. We're going to do exactly the same for the front of the card as we did for the inside. So these are the two opposite strips that we have for the inside. Now I'm quite happy to do them the same way around or do them in reverse. I think we'll do them in reverse. So I've got flat tape on the back and we're simply going to add them to the front of our card. This is a great way to use your scraps up. And I know many of you, like me, will have a big box of scrap cardstock that you just don't know what to do with. You could use 4 completely different patterns and just cut them to fit, and I'm sure that they will all match in with the colour tones that you use. So that's the first layer, and as I say, that's just the same as we've used for the inside. We've just used it the opposite way around. So now we've got the base outline die that we've cut in gold cardstock. This is Anna's gold shiny cardstock. I've cut out the centre as well because I can use that on a different project. I've got this on 3D foam and I'm just going to position it over the centre of our card and press down. Our next layer is ivory cardstock cut for the ornate die that's in the collection. I've got 3D foam, I've got flat tape on the back, and I'm just peeling the carrier sheet away from the tape. I've got some just on the edges as well, and I'm going to just position that over the top of our gold layer, and when I'm happy, press that down. Okay, next I've die cut the large laurel die in gold cardstock. I've added 3D foam on the back and I'm going to position that over the top of our ivory layer. Just nice and central, and press that down. There we go. And I'm actually thinking that we could lift it up a little bit. It might be better a little bit higher because we're going to double layer it. So we can add it maybe about there instead. There we go. That's a little bit better. So press it down. Next, I've taken one of the sentiments from the favourite Christmas sentiment stickers from Anna Griffin, and instead of using the sticky part and just peeling it off, I've got 3D foam in the centre, and then I want the actual stickiness on the edges, like so, because I'm going to just pop it in the centre of our card, just so it hooks under this little bit of laurel and sits flat against the two sides, but it's 3D in the middle underneath, like so. There we go. Next, I've taken the small laurel die again. I've die cut it and I've done the same effect that we did for the inside for the flat laurel. I've die cut it, I've used the fine liner pens and the ink just to highlight those different leaves and the bow. I've got 3D foam on the back and I'm just going to add that to the front over the top of the previous laurel. Now, it's completely up to you if you want to tuck the side laurel pieces under the sentiment sticker like that, and that at that side, and there we go. Or if you want them to sit over the top of the sticker, I think I'm going to have mine over the top of the sticker. There we go. And then when you're happy, press it down. There we go. Then, to finish the card, I've got quite a large gold bow. Now we can either go at the top and tuck those tails in, or we can go underneath. I'm happy to go underneath because I think it's a great effect, and I think it will just finish the card off perfectly. But it's your creation, and it's where you want it to go. So once we're happy, we can press everything down. There we go. And that is our card finished. Something slightly different using our scraps, and a great effect using the laurel die. The inside matches the outside perfectly, and we've got a nice message for our sentiment, a nice place for our sentiment as well. And then even the back of the card ties in nicely. I think that's a great effect to use whichever die you want to use, because it just gives it a different kind of life. And it's a beautiful card for Christmas, something a little bit different. And I hope you've enjoyed watching. Please give me the thumbs up if you've enjoyed this. Please pass it on to your crafty friends. And I would just like to say thank you so much for watching. I shall see you next time.